as entrepreneurs, we all want to make a difference. We want to make a huge difference. And once we've nailed the client experience, whether it's a product, it's manufacturing, or professional services, we want to reach out, go from one to many. And I'll tell you, I've got an individual, a really remarkable entrepreneur who has shown me an amazing way to use social media and the tools around all the internet. He's a great example for us, and he's here today to really share with us how you, an already successful entrepreneur, can use those same tools. Alex Ikonn is, again, a remarkable entrepreneur. He has been very successful with his wife on YouTube. They have millions of followers. And we're going to talk about their business, Luxury Hair, that they have. In addition, I didn't even know this, but one of my favorite books of all times, it's a journal. It's a 5-minute journal. Many of you are using it. Alex is a co-founder of that, as well as he's got a new Kickstarter campaign coming out. Or it is out, and I've already signed up for it, Alex. And Productivity Planner. I mean, he is one of the most effective young entrepreneurs out there, and he's here with us today to help you be even more successful. Stay tuned. I'm John Bowen. AES Nation, we're all about accelerating your success.
Ordinary success? No way. You want amazing, remarkable, exceptional breakthroughs. Dig deep, think bold, drive hard, watch yourself soar beyond your dreams. AESNation.com.
Alex, I am so excited to have you here. You and I met at Jason Gennard's Mastermind Talk, sat down at a round table, and you and your wife were kind enough to share with us some of your secrets, and it was like, I was blown away with how much success you have had. So congratulate and continue to. I mean, the difference you're making in the world.
Oh, thank you so much, John. I'm really happy to be here and just to say how we do it.
Well, let's before we dive in, because I mean you've got a 4-part formula for success that you share, and it's really powerful. And we're going to give not only the formula, but how you can actually make it happen. But I want to go at the backstory. And Alex, you cut a video not that long ago that you have on the internet. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull it up just real quick in a second to show them. But why don't you tell a little of your backstory?
Sure, yeah. Well, Jason, who you said you've been to his event, where we both met Mastermind Talks. Jason has always been pushing me to tell my backstory because I have this really, I guess, preppy image. A lot of people think I come from wealth, from money, from a very secure background, but it's not the reality. So I come from immigrant parents. My parents immigrated from Russia when I was about 9 years old to Canada. I initially thought I was coming to the United States because that's the land of opportunity, but instead I saw a Canadian flag with maple leaf. I'm like, what's going on? And we're not in the U.S. But regardless, it was still a great land of opportunity, and I had to make the best of it. And my parents shortly divorced, so I was really raised by a single mother, and it was a very tough upbringing because my mom, she couldn't provide for us, so she had to work factory jobs. So a lot of times growing up as a teenager, I was alone, and also, although my stepfather, who came into my life a little later on, he wasn't there for a long time either because he passed away shortly. And then shortly after, my parents actually got back together, and then my father passed away as well. So there was a lot of, loss and tragedy really in my life in those early pivotal stages, especially now having kind of the father figure in my life, and it was tough, I think, for a lot of people growing up. However, at the same time, it probably really shaped me to become the person that I am today, and it allowed me to really have the strength and the will and the independence to be able to be at the stage where I am at today. And I guess the whole thing to my backstory is I've always had to look for ways how to look for positivity in the bad. Right? Because you can really go two ways. You can really, when obstacles or challenges come into your life, you can really look at them and say, there's these clouds over me and I'm this unlucky person. You create this, or you can choose to look at it a different way, like I have, and see what good, or how can I use this in a more beneficial way. And the way I've done is, what has allowed me to even go over grief just in the beginning is really gratitude, meaning even having gratitude to understand that I'm lucky enough as a person, I'll say at that young age, to even have had a father for, let's say, 16, 17 years age of my life, because a lot of people don't even have fathers. And those kind of mind shifts have allowed me to really see the power of gratitude and how it can really help us to have a different outlook on life, which has led to creating products, let's say, like the 5-Minute Journal, and also looking at how we can also help just other people in general. But all in all, I guess from the background it's pure immigrant story, not having a lot of support from parents. The only support that I can really had is just the love of my mother. And I can say, I tell her all the time, that alone was the biggest wealth that I've ever received in my life, was just receiving that love from my mother growing up. Because I think, as anybody listening, especially if you're a parent, the biggest gift you can give to your kids is really not, let's say, the money, the gifts that you can give them, is really the time. And even if you don't have a lot of time, like my mother didn't have a lot of time with me also growing up, but any time that she had with me, it was very present, it was very loving. And that's what allowed me really to become a successful entrepreneur, you can say. It is really that love and caring in that even little amount of time.
Alex, one of the things that, I didn't know you did do the 5-Minute Journal when I started using it, and it was passed around by probably some of the mutual friends that we have, and they were raving about it, and I started doing it, and you were one of the first guys to get me to really appreciate fully gratitude and the power. I had always done it subconsciously. It's hard to be an entrepreneur gets knocked down. There's plenty of things to knock you down. Really, you don't even have to be an entrepreneur. Life, nobody gets out of life unscarred. But really creating that formal structure, and I knew it had to be somebody that had some challenges and put some discipline in their life and just really took off. And so thank you for that. We're gonna show that and how you can get more information about that in a little bit. But Alex, what I'd like to dive into, I mean, I was sitting around the table. There's probably about 20 of us at Jason's Mastermind Talk, and your wife and you were presenting and just sharing, a little on YouTube how you do it, and it was kind of like, everybody's leaning in, notes are being taken like crazy. I asked if I could record it. It wasn't a great quality recording, but I did transcribe it, and I went through and there were a lot of pearls of wisdom. And maybe, before we go into kind of your 4 overview, kind of, drivers of success, just describe a little bit of the business that you're doing. And then I want to talk about, okay, because what we want, nobody, it's unlikely any of the entrepreneurs are competing with you here. And even if they are, you're doing what you're doing. But there's so many lessons across every business. I mean, my primary business is coaching top financial advisors, and I just got so many insights out of that. So describe the business, because I'm not sure I would do it justice.
Sure, yeah. So we run multiple businesses. I guess the first one and the first true success was Luxy Hair. And that business was started and co-founded with my wife, Mimi, and her sister, Layla. We started that in 2010. And that was really prior to everything really catching on, meaning Twitter and Facebook, let's say, or YouTube wasn't as high profile as it is now. Even it's growing. There's still so much room to grow, really. It's just the beginning, even 5 years from that day. And what happened was, I was previously to that, I was really just astounded by just the power of social media. And I was actually laid off, fired from I used to be in banking, and I actually wanted to be in finance and become the whole investment banking route. That didn't really happen for me. That's a whole different story. But
I have plenty of financial guys that want to be in your space. So,
Yeah. So what I can just tell anybody listening, I wanted to become, either director in a bank or investment banker or advisor, anything financial. I love finance. And however, being fired was one of the greatest things that happened to me, because a lot of times, I always had that entrepreneurial drive, but a lot of us, we don't want to burn the bridges and to really risk that. And in that time, somebody did it for me. Somebody fired me. It was once again my outlook. Seeing it was like the greatest thing that. Of course, it was very painful at the moment, but looking back, that was the greatest thing that happened. And that's when really I started rethinking. Okay, what else is happening now? Because my realization then was, I never want to work for a corporation again, because I understood that I'm just a number at that place. It's not really about, they don't really look at that banking institution I was, where who is the actual why did this happen, let's say, or how can we actually make this person and use all their talents and stuff like that. But what I'm trying to say is, I then started getting curious about social media and this power of it. I tried to become a social media consultant, and I was actually a failed social media consultant, because back then everyone was looking at like social media consultants like snake oil salesmen. You guys don't know nothing. Like, what are you guys talking about? So social media is a joke. And I wasn't really be able to sell my services.
And unfortunately, so many social media people thought because they have a LinkedIn profile and a Facebook account, they were social media consultants. And that's where, and even today, there's a lot of social media consultants who don't deliver much value.
I guess, but for me, I decided, you know what, if you guys don't trust me, I'm gonna have to go out and do it myself to show that these things actually work. And that's what we did. We started Luxy Hair. It was just my wife just came to me and she complained about we're getting married, and she complained to me she bought these hair extensions for the wedding, clip-in hair extensions, and she's like, they're crap, whatever. She just complained to her sister. I was just in the room, and I just saw her kind of just communicate her frustration to her sister. And then right away, the spark came off. And then I was curious, and I asked, what's the product? Because I knew nothing about hair extensions. How'd you find out about it? And just ask more questions. And then she told me, well, these are crap. However, there are these girls on YouTube who talk about products and show kind of different ways to style it, whatever. And in the UK, that's where it was more kind of, the industry was a lot more ahead. However, there was nobody in the US truly delivering the product that was not in the market niche, which was more hair, more volume for a really good price. Nobody was really doing it in the US. It had to be shipped over from the UK. And when we actually ordered ourselves, it still wasn't up to the quality that we wanted to be. And that's where we saw the opportunity. So the first business it's a beauty business, e-commerce business, luxyhair.com, which sells clip-in hair extensions for women. And the way that we grew that business was with Mimi and her sister Layla to create video tutorials once a week on our YouTube channel. And that grew to be one of the biggest hair channels on YouTube. I think we're now over 2.5 million subscribers, over 250 million views. And the whole how-to content that we created, whether it be is how to create a braid, or how to create a Kim Kardashian-inspired hairstyle, whatever it may be, or Victoria's Secret Angel's hairstyle.
And I actually, with my hair, I have looked at it.
Great,
and I didn't buy any extensions. I didn't think I had enough to tie anything in. But, it's just, Alex, it's so amazing that, it's a very much an educational one. It's not a pitch fest or anything like that. And, to have as many subscribers that you have, I mean, and the sales that come out of it, it's just, I think that's one of the things that, really, guys, I just turned 60. We look at that and it doesn't seem possible. And, and that's really why I wanted to have you on today, because it's possible in every segment. I mean, it's, the audience it's not all young women that are about ready to have a wedding that watch YouTube. It's everybody type thing.
Everybody. And actually, I believe I recall these statistics, but one of the biggest growing just demographic, especially on YouTube, is people over 60, right? So and really, we talked with you about this earlier, just before we were recording this, but I really recommend everybody to be out on creating some sort of content and building their own personal brand, whether that is creating a podcast like you're doing right here, or creating YouTube content with YouTube videos, or you can be even vlogging, right, on YouTube, which we can talk about as well, or blogging, whatever it may be. But it really, the most important thing is to understand, and I can get into it when we get into the little formula that I
Well,
have.
let's dive into the formula, Alex.
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
you have a 4-part formula that is one of those things that's blindingly obvious only after the fact type thing. And the
It's
market
very
has, and the market has responded. What I'd like to do is have you give the, your 4 parts of the formula, and then let's go through each time and talk about what you're doing in your businesses to ensure that component, and then also what your fellow entrepreneurs who are either watching or listening to this, what they can do to accomplish that. So what are these 4 not secret formula, but really powerful formula component?
Well, it's all very simple, and the same thing, like you'll say even with the 5-minute journal. Most people, when they look at the 5-minute journal, like, this is so simple. How did I not think of this? Right?
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's all in the simplicity. So with the formula, what happened? Just a little backstory to it. It probably took 2 to 3 years for me to start kind of pause and say, what's going on? Because then we have over, let's say, 1 million subscribers, we have millions of views, millions of dollars, and we're like, okay, I know. Then there's one of my other things. I know I'm not special, right? One of my biggest things is that I don't think I have some sort of talent, or I'm like anything. I'm honestly just an average guy who just observes different things and just uses it. So then I also started observing, saying, what is it that made, let's say, that YouTube channel, let's say, here, successful, and what makes other, let's say, YouTube channels successful, or what makes any content creators out there successful? What is it? What do we do as content creators that allowed us to really jump out of millions of people who are trying to create content? Because we're really like in the top 1%, right? So then I said, okay, I kind of broke it down. I'm like, I know what this is. So the formula is QVCA. So the first one, and it's actually inspired off the way I rearranged the letters, is that it's actually inspired off QVC. Because QVC is the largest shopping network in the world, and they make billions of dollars. However, when I look at QVC, I think it's a dying model. I can't relate to QVC. I'll never buy anything on QVC myself. And I think the new generation that's coming up right now is more, they like to be approached in a different way, in a way that we, for example, approach our audience. Like you said, it's not salesy. We don't have, there's 2 easy payments of $19.99. There's 20 minutes counting down. There's none of that stuff. We don't even say buy in our videos. So you probably can watch all our videos. We've never said buy, which is pretty incredible. So the first one, so the formula is called QVCA, new way of selling without selling. So the first letter is Q, quality. And why I put quality first is that a lot of people actually, when I talk about quality, I actually want to make the emphasis on, a lot of people don't start because they think they need to have this overproduction. They need to have these 2 cameras, what they see on TV is what they should be producing and creating. And they're like, I don't have money for that. I don't have these professional things. I don't have this professional editing software. And they don't start. But the reality is, what would be on YouTube, you actually, the more you overproduce your videos, if you do stuff like QVC on YouTube, it won't work. And there's millions, and there's honestly companies that are spending millions of dollars on this higher produced content, and it's not working on YouTube, right? What's working on YouTube is actually quality that is not too high, but also not too low, right? It's kind of right there in the middle. And there's a lot of equipment that you can buy for under sometimes $500, even $1,000, where you can get a really nice setup that will allow you to really produce videos that really speak well and resonate with the audience on YouTube. So with the quality, it's very important that the quality is actually not overproduced, that it's actually real, because YouTube is all about you. And it's kind of getting a glimpse into that realness, because on TV before, people would kind of ignore whoever person is watching. So for example, right now, if you're watching this, you'll see that I'm speaking directly to you, right? It's not, me and John talking to each other and ignoring the audience. And we're actually breaking that kind of paradigm and speaking directly to you who's either watching or listening, because that's where we really want to resonate to. It's not just a conversation between us, but it's just it's in a way of communicating with the people, together with the people. But With quality, what I want to mention, of course, the quality of the content still has to be high, which translates to the next point, which is V, value. So first one was quality, second one was V, value. Value, and when I talk about your content has to still be quality, that it provides value to people. And a lot of people, a lot of what the corporations, organizations, or just individuals, where they get it wrong is they start, let's say, podcasts, or they start a YouTube channel because they want to get something out of it. And I get it, right? When we started our business, we wanted our business to grow. We wanted to make money. However, being able to, in that early generation of, kind of social media, I really listened closely to people, for example, like Seth Godin and people like Gary Vaynerchuk starting out, where they really preached about the importance of giving value and not expecting anything back, doing things unconditionally. Because a lot of people, they'll start, they'll be like, I'll do 5 videos, and they're like, oh, it's not working, okay, bye, and they leave. But the most important thing, there's that body language of you kind of trying to get something, you know what I mean? It's like, the thing is, even me doing this podcast, I've no financial interest. I'm really here to deliver value. And in everything that we've really done, whether any of our YouTube channels or our YouTube videos, even our products, our whole mission is really how can we deliver more value to people. So even when we're reorganizing our website or doing something else, we're always saying how can we provide more value in a way that will help the other person. But the major point about a value that I really want to kind of say is that it's all about, in a way, of reciprocity.
Well, that's what I was going to talk about, Alex, because the law of reciprocity, I just love, because it really, much of the marketing that I learned, it was, really very early on. I mean, before all this stuff that we're talking about is, it was the classic push marketing. You're really selling. And there were limited opportunities to get things. And, the internet has become the greatest facilitator in the world. I mean, if you want a hair extension, you can Google and you're going to end up on your YouTube channel. You're going to listen. And with all this value, you're going to go to Mimi and say, geez, I'm going to buy it from her. Or I could, why would I drive somewhere? Type thing. And I think so often we in business forget that. We kind of like, we got to have this whole funnel. We got to have everything boom, 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 and creating this value. And you guys have done that. And I'm going to go back to the Q too, is, we're doing a podcast here. You're in London. I'm in Silicon Valley. We're doing it over Skype. It's free. I've got a camcorder, nice mic, a few other things, switching gear, maybe $2,500 worth of stuff. I mean, and that would be an expensive studio for a lot of, you could do it for about $500. And the value you can get out there and have people, really, that now all of a sudden you're pulling them to you and they want to be part of your group, and that reciprocity is just so powerful. And you guys have done it so well.
Exactly, but it's really the most important piece is still it has to come genuine, right? Which we'll get to that point as well. But so the first one is quality, value, and just on that, finishing on that value piece. So the way we did it, we produced these hair tutorials online, and our videos were not a sales pitch, right? If you watch our videos, they were just showing people how to create different hairstyles. Meaning, if you have really long hair and you don't need our product, you will still get value from our videos. And what happens many times is, even if they don't need our product, however, because we have helped them, when they have a friend who's asking, say, hey, I'm getting married and I'm looking for hair extension, they'll say, oh, I know, check out Mimi. I watched their videos. They're really just great people, and they have this business. And really, it's the kind of the value in the story that we provide that has really driven our business throughout the years. So it's pretty incredible. So that's value. However, going to the next points, you can have quality, you can have value, but if you're not doing this third thing, you might as well do anything. And that third thing is consistency, right? Because a lot of content creators, they start, but they're not consistent. And what I mean by that, they like I said earlier, they'll just do 5 videos and they'll stop. Or they'll do videos randomly. Let's say they'll do one, maybe once a month, or on every 2, 3, 4, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, maybe 5 months, right? But what we have to understand is that people have already, big media has already spent trillions of dollars probably on training people to expect what's coming next. So when we were all growing up, let's say for me, I knew what time The Simpsons was on when I was growing up, because and I was expecting. I'm so looking forward to The Simpsons on Sunday night or whatever it may be. And so the same thing with people. When you create content, you want to create a certain consistent pattern. For some people, it can be daily, and you're like, I create daily content. If you're that ambitious, you can do it. Awesome. There's daily vloggers that are super popular and successful. Or at the very least, this is what I recommend for most people, is just doing, for example, one video or one podcast or one blog post a week. So weekly content. And weekly content, especially if you have it on a certain date. So say you're like, hey, at the end of the video, say, hey, thank you guys for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys next Wednesday. I create videos every week. And you let people know. And say, subscribe for more content. Now there's a reason for them to subscribe. And they know that, hey, there's going to be more content coming up. And the same thing, for example, if they even, let's say, the reason I said it, if you even created amazing quality, valuable video, and they go on your channel or your podcast, whatever it may be, and then they see that the last time you created something was a year ago, would you subscribe to that person? No, because you know that there's no certainty when the next content is coming out. And so that's about consistency. But the thing about I want to add about consistency is also about creating consistent content with a consistent message. Meaning, for our business, and this is really important for businesses, if you're, for example, a financial advisor, then your videos should be about finance. It should be about helping people with just their finances, let's say, and it should be tailored towards that. That's what we did with, for example, we were one of the first channels who just focused on hair. Because before there was beauty, well, let's say these YouTubers who would create makeup routines, what to wear in a day, all that stuff. However, it's really when we drilled down and we just did one thing, we became known for something. We were the hair experts all of a sudden, right? And this is just an important point for people starting out, is that you want to have consistent content that comes out consistently, but also consistent message. And you may say, right now we're also seeing the rise of, for example, of vlogging and personal branding. That's a little different. That's where you can, if you check out my channel, it's all over the place right now. However, I still have a consistent message, which is to still overall to help, for example, young people starting out, whether it be they want to start a business or how to be successful. Because I always drop tips on just how to live a better life and be more successful daily in my videos. So that content is different than new emerging content of vlogging, and you can look into that. There's some things that you can check out and recommend. However, but that's more a personal brand. However, if you want to build a business and you want to build content around your business, it's very valuable when it's consistent, because it will allow you to better convert people because you become known for something. So that's quality, value.
Alex, let me do consistent just for a second too, because I've found, I'll start a project and it was really tempting to do a few videos and you're done. And you've now done it. And where it really came, and I mean, I'm now doing in the financial advisor community, we're doing 100 webinars a year. And it's generating an awful lot. I'm doing the AES podcast, just started a financial advisor one. And what I love is, particularly in the podcast, the videos that we're putting out, the distribution that we can have, and that they're evergreen, that they can stay there forever. Exactly. And, and somebody if they didn't hear your first YouTube post, they can come 3 years later and they'll find one they like, and a lot of times they'll go back and start listening, and all of a sudden they're now part of your community. And there's just no other media that we could do to have something like that would be that cost effective.
Oh, I highly, and this is another tip for anybody listening, is you want to create evergreen content. So the best way to start is really look for what people are already looking for. So that's what we did at the beginning as well. We would look for, okay, it'll say back then reviews were really popular. So our first video ever was a review of a really popular product back then, which was, let's say, a hair straightener. Or let's say Kim Kardashian was really popular at one point. And then that's why the girls created videos on how to create a certain Kim Kardashian look, because people are looking for it. And you can also create content that, for example, that is not only current at the moment, you can also create content that has like even more evergreen. So say how to create a certain braid Everyone forever will always be looking how to create a certain hairstyle or a certain braid. It's the same thing, for example, in finance. Everyone is always going to be looking for ways to invest their money in a certain strategy. That's what people will just look for. So, but going to the last point, and this is honestly, you can have quality, you can have value, you can have consistency. But this last piece is the most important. And the last piece is authenticity. And this is really, we're in this age right now. This is why YouTube is becoming even more popular than television. This is why so many people are now making this regular content, right? More and more people are gravitating towards this kind of new content. And why are they doing it? Whether it be your, let's say, podcast production or anybody else, like, why choose that over a professional medium? Well, people choose that because they're sick and tired of puppets in a way. They want to connect to real people. And that's why YouTube, like I said, is all about you. If you're able to really show your real self as a person, as you are, and show maybe even your flaws, leave out some bloopers or whatever it may be, and it will really help people to connect with you because, well, like you said, the internet now is really this platform where people, it's going back to, it's nothing new really. It's actually just going back to the humanness of people and who we really are. And that's what I mean by authenticity. Authenticity is how can you really display and show, and even this is a journey that you will really be on, is display the real you. And that's what we were talking about earlier about, you know, maybe some people think, oh, I'm too old to go on and create vlogs, maybe even, or I'm too old to create YouTube videos or whatever it may be. You're not, because people will be able to better connect with you because they'll say you're their age and you've gone through the same difficulties. And if you can be authentic enough to share your experiences, and let's say maybe even your hardships in the content that you create and let other people connect with you in that way, then a guy like me will never be able to connect with a certain type of people just because I'm not exactly like them. And I was recently at, I think last year, with an event with Seth Godin in New York, and he always said, like, there's a whole thing like people like us. And what I mean by that is people still gravitate towards people that are similar to them. And what I mean is, like, we have a friend in Toronto, Carmen. She's an Asian woman, and she says, you know what? When I pick out my hair color, I look out for the Asian one. I don't look for the white girls. And what I mean by that is, right, and why to me it was mind-blowing, it was insightful, you can say whatever you want, but people still want to have content that are people that are similar to them. Meaning, whatever, as you are, certain views that you may have about finance, politics, about society, about anything you have, people will gravitate towards you because you're like them. And in a world of 7 billion people, this is an incredible opportunity that we can be able to really connect to a lot of people that are similar to us. And it also leaves opportunity for us to also connect to all humankind around the world. Although there is that kind of hyper niche that you may have and that you allow you to connect, at the same time, authenticity of just you showing your humanness through the camera, whether it is about being vulnerable sometimes or whatever it may be, it connects to everybody. So that's kind of with the authenticity piece, and how I just want to finish it off with, it's just really, people really go to YouTube for, at the end of the day, it's connection. It's not even content or even, they want to feel connected to somebody else because there's just not a lot. We want to see more genuine people out there.
I mean, there's so much value in that. And you know, we talk about the power of storytelling. It's all about authenticity. We want to work with real people. I mean, most of us are so alienated in the world, and we have a missed opportunity, you know, and so many successful entrepreneurs want to be, you know, just so polished and everything perfect and script and so on. And when you look at some of the most successful, as a matter of fact, the very first videos we did, you know, I had a video editor and they're slicing it up and all this and so on. And I said, no, stop doing that. As a matter of fact, we don't edit any of our videos now. And, you know, unless there's some major part. And the reason for that is, we're real people. I mean, if you want somebody that's an anchor person that can read a teleprompter, that's great, but that's not what we want to work with. Now, Alex, let me do a switch here. I want to go to this segment on resources. And I got to tell you, you've got a lot of resources that I want to point out to the entrepreneurs. Let me put up on screen the 5-Minute Journal. This is one of my favorite tools out there, and it's actually a great gift for any time of year to share this. Alex, tell us a little bit about what this is and how it comes together. Where people could use it.
Sure. I'm not sure if you're showing the website right now. We might be sold out.
Right now it says on back order, but and this is an evergreen one. So go to the website 5minutejournal.com. We'll have all the links at AES Nation and how to get all this stuff and so on that Alex and I are talking about.
Yeah, sure. But so it's really a tremendous product in a way. Just it has grown organically, and like you said, mostly people through gifting it to family members, and it's really just a thoughtful gift. The way it really started was I co-founded with my friend UJ Ramdas, and of course with Mimi's help. My wife is a partner in every way, so on every project she helps us out. And the way it started was, growing up like you, I practice gratitude in my mind, meaning I train myself to, as soon as I wake up, to think of the things I'm grateful for, or I'll be in the shower and doing this. And it's really, I train myself to do this. And I can really say that a lot of the things that have transpired and I've created in my life is because of that. It's because of the sort of mindset that I instilled. And also when I started dating my wife, I realized that there's a lot of negative messages that people have received in their life, whether it be through media or through their parents or whatever it is. There's always this things that are sent to us in our minds, and a lot of times they're negative. And people have a lot of negative self-talk. And me and UJ really thought, how can we create something that can help people reestablish and create a new mind? And that's why we really call the 5-Minute Journal kind of the toothbrush for your mind, right? What happens when you don't brush your teeth every day? Well, right, they rot. Like you'll get cavities and things won't be pretty. Well, the same thing will happen. People don't understand that the same thing happens to your mind if you don't do the work daily to brush it, right? So there's a great Zig Ziglar quote says, some people say motivation doesn't last. So doesn't bathing. That's why we do it daily, right? And it's the same kind of attitude. This is why 5-Minute Journal is a thing you do in the morning and at night. In the morning, you have 3 questions, which are, I'm grateful for, ... 3 things. You list just the things you're grateful for. Then 2, what will make today great? In this part, once again, you train your mind to already kind of say, okay, what are the things that I will do that will make today great? And you look forward to the day. And all of this is kind of put together with, we studied a lot of books on positive psychology and really want to put these things that will enable you to train your mind. And the reason I say this is because there's a lot of books out there. What we noticed was, it's great. There's a lot of books that tell you what to do, how to be happy, but there's no really kind of a guide, a thing that you can actually do to actually implement those things that people recommend in those positive psychology books. Things like journaling, things like gratitude, things like looking forward to your day, or the third thing in the morning part, things like your daily affirmation, right? So reaffirm of a certain who you want to be, let's say, in your life. You can say, I'm the greatest stockbroker of all time. I'm not sure, whatever it may be for finance-related people. And at night, this is, I'll say, the best portion, really. And even if you just do it, just even this night portion, you even need the journal. You can even do it yourself with your partner or yourself, is list 3 amazing things that happened today. And this is, like, honestly, just this question alone is such a game changer, because a lot of times people finish their day and they just think of all the negative stuff that happened. And they just, like, even if they talk to their partner and they'll be like, oh, how's your day, honey? And then they'll get into all the bad stuff. But why do we do this? So it's important to retrain your mind. So that question, 3 amazing things that happened today, forces you to actually, even if your day was bad, it forces you to still look for the good in that day. Because I promise there's still something good you can see in the day. Whether it be there's a sun was shining, or it started raining in California, or whatever it may be, that positively affected your day. And then the last one is, how can I make today better? So really, this format you can do yourself. You don't even need the journal, and so we have it all on our website as well. But it's overall, it's a technique for people to do to create a new mindset.
Alex, we're running out of a little time, but I want to just do a quick one on the productivity planner too, because you just launched that at the time of this recording. And so, I mean, the 5-minute journal, I love. There is no entrepreneur that shouldn't at least have it. And you go, well, geez, I can do this on my own. Yeah, it just gives you the framework, and it's just a perfect tool for that. And you can do it on your own, but get the book to see how they've laid it out. And I love, really, at the end of the day, just doing. I have very big on the morning and the end of the day, those two things. It's just, how life is so grand. I mean, it's just so grand. But what about this productivity? Now that we've got such a great life, we're gonna make it even better. What's the productivity planner?
Yeah, well, look, quickly, productivity planner. We had a Kickstarter; it was really successful, and we're launching the product later on this month, so it'll be shipping out. The productivity planner is really all about how do you structure your day to actually get things done. Meaning, this is it's all good about 5-minute journal. It really helps you to set your mindset, but as we all know, it's not just about thinking positive. It's all about what are your daily actions, right? What are you actually doing to create these things real in your life? So with the productivity planner, we really just simplified it. UJ and I, he introduced me to the Pomodoro technique, and the Pomodoro technique quickly is just working 25 increments of time, right? Because a lot of times right now we're multitasking, we're trying to do all the things at once, but in reality, your mind is not made to work on many things at once. It is made to do one thing. And with the help of the Pomodoro technique, you kind of just set a timer for 25 minutes and just focus on doing one thing at a time. And what we did was we married that technique with the Ivy League method. And if for those of you who don't know, the Ivy League method was introduced, back in the day to Charles Schwab, not the finance guy, but the steel guy of Bethlehem Steel, and he hired Ivy League to say, how do I make my employees more productive? And he said, okay, I'm gonna give you a method. You put it to use, and you pay me whatever you think it's worth after you put it into practice. And all he told them to do is give your people a maximum 3 to 5 tasks a day, with the most important task being first, and you only move to the second task after you have done the most important task first, right? And that's it. That's the Ivy League method. Charles Schwab then gave Ivy League, I believe it was $25,000 at that time, equivalent now of over $200,000, just for like 25 minutes.
Well, and I think it was written on one piece of paper too, and that was a lot of money back then.
Exactly, but it was because it was so helpful, and it allowed Charles Schwab to become one of the richest people in the world, really. So, but we kind of married those two, the Ivy League method and doing the Pomodoro technique, into one. And we created, our whole thing with that company, Intelligent Change, which produces the 5-minute journal and the productivity planner. Our whole mission really is to simplify products and to make them so that you really want to do it. Because all these things you can do by yourself, whether it be the 5-minute journal or the productivity planner, you can start and implementing these today by yourself. You don't need to buy anything. The only reason we do what we do is because I'm a very aesthetic guy, right? What I mean by that is I like things in pretty packages that are well made. And I personally design a 5-minute journal and the productivity planner in a way that, honestly, I create these products for myself. it just honestly.
And it does show, Alex, on the productivity planner, because I'm a pretty organized guy. I looked at it and I go, I don't really need this. And then you had it on the Kickstarter that you could download it, or Jason's thing.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I go, oh, I got to order a bunch of these because they're so damn nice looking.
Exactly. And it's a good way to just introduce yourself to these concepts.
Yeah, I think it's a great way to get started. Let me bring it all together in the last segment. And Alex, I really do appreciate you being here with us, because these are the key takeaways. And I'm going to just go and repeat the 4 big drivers of success that Alex talked about: quality. And everything you do, you want to have great quality, but particularly in the internet, not overproduce. You don't need to do Super Bowl ads, for instance. The technology today it's relatively inexpensive. But it's that quality that is whatever is right for your audience. Value, this is the law of reciprocity. We're going to, as capital markets, we know as entrepreneurs delivering more value, we get great returns by delivering value to others. And sometimes we want to have it on every transaction. You don't need that. Consistency. The internet is a vast world. I don't know how many pages are out there. 7 billion people in the world. I believe there's somewhere around 3.5 billion using the internet now. It's growing. Everything's growing. The opportunity, whatever your segment is, to consistently reach them. I can't think of a better way of doing it. And then authenticity. This is the power of your personal story, your persona. People are alienated. We want to connect. Alex, this has been phenomenal. I want to thank you sincerely. Wish you and your wife, continued success in everything you're doing. And to all our entrepreneurs, let's go out and execute on this. You can get all the links that Alex and I talked about, AES Nation, and I'm expecting, Alex, for them to be much more full of gratitude, recognize how great their lives are, and become extremely productive in the next 12 months. So thank you again.
Exceptional, remarkable breakthroughs. AESNation.com.